This will be the last RDR2 video blog discussion video. I would eventually want to move on to some other topic videos when it comes to games. I know far as right now these videos are going to be for this next upcoming weeks or so. I'm not going to be able to stream for a while. Nothing's wrong with technology, but there are some personal things right now going on, and I need to be able to make sure that I'm going to be free when certain things come up and I gotta take care of some things. So these videos that'll be coming out or for this week, which makes it easier for me. So once it's finished uploading, all I gotta do is publish it, then boom, and whoever stumbles upon it, can watch it at any time, rather than saying, "Oh man, I missed it," or like missed the stream or whatever. So just keep that in mind. With that being said, I want to get into the topic discussion of, would Arthur still be alive? How would Arthur live? How would he still be alive? Because it would be really rather difficult and hard as a right-hand man to one of the most wanted outlaws, gang members in the West. Your head leader is Dutch. You're his right-hand man. But were there chances in the game where Arthur could have said, "You know what, screw it, I'm out, I'm done"? Were there moments? Were there opportunities? Yes. Yes, there was. If you take a look at the Blackwater incident, he wasn't involved with that. The shit that went down, he could have said, "You know what, I can leave right now." That's it, because he knew with that incident, shit would be so hectic. He could have left because of how crazy, how heavy it would have been. If you take a look during the train robbery, right? Dutch wanted to do a score. They had enough already to leave off the mountain. Arthur could have chosen to be like, "Look, they said for me to meet them back at camp. Let me clear out, get what I can, and then head off in another direction." He could have easily did that, because he knew and had a feeling, along with Hosea, this can only go one way, and it's not going to be good. If you take a look at Valentine, right? Valentine was peaceful. If you take a look at what happened after the shootout in the town, and how crazy and how heavily hunted they were, that right there would have been a good time to book it. Just don't come back. If you take a look at when Arthur collapsed to the first time of having tuberculosis, right? When he was diagnosed with it, I think would have been a good time to go to Sadie and say, "Look, I'm sick. I'm sick." And I believe he would have explained it to her, right? He knows that there would have been some money for him. He would have took what he got. I believe he would have actually left to a warmer climate. I believe Sadie would understand, because of everything going right there, shit was just going too crazy. Already just going too crazy. Sadie would get it. Sadie would understand. And I think we would have switched to playing as Sadie throughout the rest of the game. If you take a look at Guarma, right? The bank heist went south, but they all left. They went back to the U.S. He didn't have to go to that shack shed. He could have went to another direction, would have left, and he would have lived. Even if you take a look, when Dutch wanted them to go to Beaver Hollow, Charles, I believe, Arthur would have talked to Charles like, look, man, I'm gone. All this craziness, man, someone's going to get killed. I'm not going to be around for it. Charles would understand. Charles would definitely understand. So, Arthur would have left. Charles is very heavily skilled. He has a lot of crazy skills. He's very skilled. I believe he has more skills hidden that we don't know about, to where Charles wouldn't need our help taking out the Murfreesboro gang, or the Murphy's Blood gang, or whatever they're called. Now, I believe Arthur would have helped Charles regardless, and then would have left. And I think another time where Arthur could have left, where he still would have been alive, and he actually would be tuberculosis free, would have been when Agent Milton approached him. It's like, I know where you guys are. He could have left right there, and he still would have lived. He would have definitely lived. The rest of the times from there, would have been more closer to his death. There would have been other choices, other chances for him. If he were to just, actually think about, like, man, shit ain't feeling right, gotta leave. Even when Hosea and Arthur were talking, right? I think Hosea would understand that maybe Arthur would want to leave and say, you know what, you got my permission, my blessing to leave. Arthur would have been alive. And I think, if he would have took those chances, would he be a beloved character? I think a lot of people would hate him, but I think once they're seeing, how shit really unfolds, especially when Dutch is really going super crazy, and we may switching to another character to play as throughout the rest of the game, I think a lot of people definitely understand, okay, Arthur made the right decision to definitely leave. Now there could be that possibility, chance, that Dutch would have probably hunted down Arthur. I don't know. But I believe Micah definitely would have added some shit to it, to our look. What I was talking about before with Micah being an agent from the get-go. And you guys got to bring him down like he's dangerous. Arthur is dangerous. Arthur is the last threat, not John. Arthur is. But yeah, there were chances. Thinking about it, he could have left. He could have booked it. He still would have been alive. He would have lived. Now, there's no telling how everything else would work out for others, but Arthur would have lived. He would have lived. Most definitely. And I do think the others I do believe, eventually Dutch, without Arthur's help, and, Hosea's up there in age, so there's only so much he can do. I believe Dutch would have definitely either would have been captured or most certainly killed by the Pinkertons. Because it's obvious, Milton, he didn't really care about the others. He was giving them a chance to leave. Anyways, he just wanted Dutch. So the others, would have definitely have lived. But I do believe Bill Javier's fate would have still been the same. I believe they would have been hunted down regardless, just like in part one. But by who? God, there's no really telling about that. It probably would have been, who knows? Like, they probably would have hired. They probably would have found Arthur if he didn't have tuberculosis, or if he still had tuberculosis, and he had the. I would imagine the medicine probably by then to still keep him going, to keep him alive. I do believe that they probably would have found him and hired him to do it. But I don't think that would be so likely, because I think the obvious person to hunt down Bill and Hosea, if Arthur would have definitely left before tuberculosis or during the early stages of tuberculosis, like the really early stages of it. Like I said, Dutch would still definitely been captured or killed, right? But I do believe the fate of Bill and Javier would still be the same, because rather than having John, because John wasn't on these people's radar like I was talking about, so they didn't really care or really know who he was. So him, Jack, and Abigail, they would be good. Pearson, Tilly, Mary Beth, Uncle, the girl with the red hair, I forget her name. Karen, and the boy Karen and female Karen would still be alive. Mrs. Grimshaw would still be alive. So a lot of people are like, well, who would be the candidate to hunt down Bill and Javier? I honestly believe it would be Micah. Yes, part one, we wouldn't be playing as John. We would definitely be playing as Micah to bring them down, because Micah in this story, to me, is still an agent. Like I talked about, in one of the videos. And all this, I do believe, probably would have led up to eventually them catching up to Arthur, and may end up getting killed, but wouldn't have went down without a fight. And all that would have been, if Arthur would have just said, you know what, man, I'm out of here. He would have lived for a long time until they found him. So that's definitely a scenario to think about, right there. Would people hate him for it, man? In the beginning they would, but I think as the people kept playing that game and seeing how it just goes along, if it was different like that, I think they definitely would have understood how it went. Especially when it came to all the robberies going south. But then there's that good chance that the bank robbery never would have happened in Saint Denis, which means Lenny would be alive still. Until Micah had to hunt down Bill's gang, because remember, Lenny was like, man, I would join your gang, Bill, if you were to create one. So, Lenny would still be alive, but until they sent Micah to hunt down Bill and Javier, right? So that's definitely scenarios, if you ask me, when it comes down to, hunting down them as gang members, and how Arthur would actually be alive. I think the next question, if not the other possibility for Arthur, would be like, look, man, I just escaped from Colm O'Driscoll's gang. Shit was crazy. Like he could have left after he healed up. Now, if things would have took place different, how I explained them, how would that really affect Colm O'Driscoll? How would that really affect Colm? I gotta be honest. I think there would be a good chance Combs' gang would have been slaughtered right after Dutch would have been captured and killed if Arthur would have left early in several stages. Because I believe, and I strongly believe that Combs' gang was definitely working with the Pinkertons in order to get clearance and not get captured. But you can only stretch that out so far until the higher people come and take you out. And soon as they would have got Dutch, yeah, they would have took out Colm O'Driscoll's gang. They would have found Tamisi. They would have gathered them all of them up in one area. Came with the army, the agents, a lot of firepower, and just took them out. Like it wouldn't have mattered. They just would have been wiped out clean. All that would happen because Arthur chose to leave. It's crazy to think. Maybe a small decision like that would have changed the game entirely, the story and its perspective. But we'll never know. We can only speculate, do theories. And definitely heavy topic videos like this. What if this happened? What if that happened? And some of these videos are pretty much, are what if videos. So it's really crazy to think about. It's fun to think about. It's fun to talk about. With that being said, man, it